This is it. This is the place Marilyn Monroe died. August 5th, 1962. She was just 36 years old. Now, officially, it was ruled a probable suicide by overdose, but it makes me feel like, did we really know her at all? Wow. I'm flying out to Los Angeles to start a new series I've been planning for a while. It's a series about people who burned bright, lived fast, and left the world way too soon. And no one fits that better than Marilyn Monroe, who will be the subject of our series opener. Hey y'all, my name is Nick, and I travel across North America in search of famous graves and dark history locations. Welcome to episode number 1 of my all-new series, Too Young to Die. Over the next 8 weeks, we'll be discussing the life, careers, and deaths of some of Hollywood's elite figures, visiting their graves and death sites. The one thing all 8 of these people have in common, they all died 40 years old or younger. Now, let's fly out to Los Angeles, California, and begin the series. We have arrived. I wanted to start this 8-part series with Marilyn Monroe's story because to me, she's just the ultimate queen of old Hollywood. She was born Norma Jean Mortensen in 1926. Her childhood wasn't exactly Hollywood at all. There's foster homes, a lot of instability, and her mother even struggled with mental illness. And she married at just 16 years old, I think just to have some sort of stability in her life. But even then, you can tell she was destined for something bigger, something that the world hadn't quite seen just yet. After the war, she began modeling. And it wasn't long before the studio system noticed her. She wasn't just another girl in Hollywood. I mean, she had a presence, something that couldn't be faked. You know how some people just seem to have a light around them or like a glow around their figure when they're either on stage or you see them in person? That was Marilyn. And I mean, there's a few others, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, maybe even JFK. But that was definitely Marilyn. Wow. I cannot believe I'm here. I've been wanting to come to this cemetery for so long. FYI, this is Pierce Brothers Westwood Memorial Park, along those lines. And there's so many famous graves here. Like, not even gonna look because I already saw them out of the corner of my eye. Rodney Dangerfield, it's laid to rest right there. My word. These grounds, for being in literally downtown of a city, are so peaceful and quiet. And just to think that someone like Marilyn, so famous, so photographed, so burned into our American history, is buried somewhere here, laying to rest peacefully in this quiet, beautiful cemetery. So as you'll see in this series and just on my channel in general, when I start videos, I like to start at the cemetery and, just kind of soak it all in, because yeah, we tell their story and their life and talk about their death and go to the death places, but this is where their story ends and where they end up. And I don't know, it just kind of brings full circle for the entire story. So that's why, you know, I'm starting at the cemetery. Marilyn Monroe passed away in 1962, 36 years old. It's almost impossible to imagine that in that short a time, she became one of the most iconic women in the world. And yet, this peaceful cemetery hides the reality of her story. Now, before Marilyn Monroe was the most photographed woman in the world, she lived at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. So, guess where we're going to next? Yes, my friends, we're going to go down and see the exact location. It's still here today, where Marilyn was living before she became the superstar that we all know today. So we'll come back to the cemetery at the end of the video, and I got a lot in store for you guys today, so hope you enjoy. Let's go. Y'all, we made it to Hollywood Boulevard. Man, and it's pretty crazy, but right now we are standing in front of the very old Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, and this is where Marilyn Monroe lived when she was out here, before she became the huge Marilyn Monroe star we know today. But we're going to talk about her time here and show you as much as we can. I don't think we're going to get inside access at all today. It's pretty hard from what I hear unless you're staying there, but let's talk about Marilyn's time here and kind of show you around a bit. So Marilyn had just signed her first studio contract and was living right here among other actors. And just as you can imagine, like a lot of actors do, working to be noticed. Just imagine Marilyn Monroe walking in and out of these very doors, you know, attending parties, dreaming of movie sets, trying to meet directors. And you know, she was a small town girl, and when she arrived here, it was the golden age of Hollywood. And just to be here in person is something else, along with all the stars. Man, this place, this is where the myth really started. You know, Hollywood built Marilyn Monroe, and in many ways it owned her too. I mean, during this period, she changed her name, changed her look, and became Marilyn Monroe. She was glamorous, charismatic, and obviously unforgettable. Supposedly, if you go in here, there's a famous mirror that's like at the top of the steps once you get in. And supposedly, so many people say there's a chance you will see the ghost of Marilyn Monroe. I don't think so, but you never know. The mirror's right inside here still to this day. Now, what would happen to Marilyn Monroe? We already know. Her fame just absolutely exploded. Everybody wanted a piece of her. Women wanted to be her, and men wanted to be with her. And she was just on top of the world during the Hollywood golden era. Right here. This is where it all happened. The Walk of Fame, premieres, magazine covers, attention, the adoration. It was intoxicating, you know, but also isolating. Right in front of a McDonald's, believe it or not, but yeah, here she is. Behind the smiles, behind the cameras, there was a woman constantly performing, living for everyone else's expectations and never just herself. Her movies, even, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Some Like It Hot, they cemented her as a cultural icon. But the very system that lifted her up also demanded perfection, and that weight never let up. It is so cool to be here and see this hotel is still here today. The place where Marilyn lived before we all knew her name. So cool to see. So if you're ever in Hollywood, make sure to come check this place out, or even stay here. The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Alrighty, let's head off to the next location. All right, y'all, we made it to Barney's Beanery, absolutely a famous place here in Los Angeles. And yes, Marilyn Monroe did spend a lot of time here back in her time. And it's kind of surreal to think about, you know, how big she was. She was like a normal person here. Just get some food, hang out with friends, just like, you know, a normal person until everything got so crazy. Just to think the amount of celebrities that were in here. Oh my God, you guys see this place? This is like, we're back in 1985. The history that happened inside this building. So I'm gonna talk over myself because when I went back and watched this clip, the music is so loud you can't even hear me. So basically what I was saying is, what's interesting about places like this, Barney's Beanery, it's where real life happened. Not the movie sets, not the cameras, but right here. Marilyn Monroe would come right here, sit down, possibly where we're sitting right now, eat just like anyone else. And yet at the same time, she was becoming the most famous woman in the world. This is the street. Well, the main street. And Marilyn's house was on 5th. Helena. So the date is August 5th, 1962, and Marilyn is found unresponsive in her home. It is already ruled a probable suicide by overdose. Wow, to think that Marilyn Monroe would drive her car right down this way. Besides the annoying lawnmower in the background, it's really a quiet neighborhood. But I don't know, as I get closer to this house, you can almost feel the chaos of how Hollywood was weighing on her, you know? There was the parties, the contracts, endless cameras. I can't even imagine. It all came crashing down right inside this house. I think her final days were kind of, you know, a mix of a few things. Loneliness, like how much time do you think she spent in here by herself, just all alone? Just hating the media and never fully being able to escape the image of herself and the world that she and Hollywood built around her. It must have been so hard. So with that being said, we are going to leave Marilyn's house and head off to the cemetery to pay her our respects and hang out with her a bit today. So let's go on. And just like that, my friends, we've made it back. Now, without further ado, I know you guys have been waiting long enough in this video. Let's go check out the final resting place of Marilyn Monroe. You know, after this long journey of going through Marilyn's life pretty much in this video, it's hard to, you know, well, you kind of see like the contrast, and it's hard to think about, you know, the life she had so in the public and where she is now, and it's like, is all that fame really worth it? Maybe to some, but I don't know. She's straight ahead right there. I was just walking to Marilyn's grave, and there's a girl there by herself that is kind of just, I can tell she's taking a moment to hang out with Marilyn. She's kind of hugging the wall, if you want to call it that, but I don't want to bother her. It sounds like she's just taking a moment to hang with her. So with that being said, before we get there, I wanted to show you this building right behind me because it plays an important role in Marilyn's ending. So this building is where Marilyn Monroe's funeral was held. There's so many photos I'll try to throw in if I can find them. I remember seeing them, but there's photos of the cars lined up here. I think there's photos taken right in front of me of them taking Marilyn's casket out. But this is the building. This is where Marilyn's funeral was held, and I'm so glad it's still here. Check that out. Right inside there. I'm sure it's been highly updated since then, but it's still the same building. Now there was another famous building. That building has very recently, this year, been torn down. And there's actually a construction crew right now working, digging that all up. So that is no longer here. But I think the more important building where a funeral was held is still here. So very happy for that. It looks like that girl is done hanging out with Marilyn, so I'm going to take this opportunity to go and see her. Here she is. Marilyn Monroe is right behind here. Wow, 1926 to 1962. I do feel bad. I wish I brought flowers, but I left the house pretty darn early this morning, like 6 o'clock. And I have an entire day, so I do feel bad not bringing her flowers. But I am coming back to Los Angeles later in the year, so I will have to do that because I will be returning to this cemetery. And as I'm sure you've already seen in this clip, the Playboy man himself, Hugh Hefner. How fitting is that Hugh is right next to Marilyn? And if you're wondering why, especially Marilyn's, well, they have a different color than the rest of them. It's because her marker here gets so scratched up and graffitied and vandalized and kissed, and you could still see like there's little bits of red lipstick, that they clean it constantly, so that's why it's discolored. Actually, it wasn't even that long ago, this year actually, there was all these reports about Marilyn's grave being vandalized, and there was quite a few YouTubers who came out here, guys I'm friends with, and filmed it. But it seems they cleaned it up like very quickly. So I'm glad to see she's nice and it's all clean today. I don't know how many of you know this story, but it's true. This man, Richard Poncher, who was buried above Marilyn, when he was put in the casket inside here, he requested that he, instead of laying flat, he like flat like this, right? He requested that his body be placed upside down so he can forever be, I mean, there's no other way to say it, on top of Marilyn, which I'm not going to even make my own comments about that because you guys probably don't want to hear what I have to say. And then his wife is buried next to him, Elizabeth Poncher. I don't understand it, but none of my business, I guess. And I'll just let you guys, talk about that yourselves in the comments. But yeah, this man is laying face down over Marilyn Monroe. She was only 36 years old, Life too short. A Hollywood tragedy and a story, that we still in 2026 talk about today. And people from all over the world come to see her. It's so awesome for me who enjoys this type of stuff to be here among so many people. It was way before my time, but I'm an old soul. I grew up like watching, Dean Martin, there's Marilyn movies, Don Knotts is over there, Ronnie Dangerfield, funny 80s movies, man. And, they were much before my time. And I say this sometimes, but I would never be able to meet these people in person. So for me to be, standing next to the grave of Marilyn, or standing next to the grave of Farrah Fawcett, or Dean Martin I just saw, Don Knotts I just saw, just to be with them is just, it's the closest thing. And for me, that is so cool. And I think that's why I enjoy doing what I do on this channel, and I hope you do too if you're watching. But it makes me feel like I'm personally hanging out with them a little bit today. That's all I wanted to say about that. Marilyn, it is so nice to come and see you today, and I know you are finally resting in peace, and you're just enjoying the afterlife. So nice to see you. Even now, decades later, people still come here to remember her. Tourists, fans, everyone wants to touch a piece of her story. Hollywood made her a star. Hollywood consumed her. But even in that, there's a lesson about the cost of fame, how fragile life is, and the people behind the myth. This has been the life and death story of Marilyn Monroe, Too Young to Die. That's going to wrap it up for episode 1, and now I hope you join me in episode number 2 of my 8-part series, Too Young to Die, where we feature Paul Walker. We will go to his crash site, his grave, discuss his story, his sad ending, and all the above. I hope to see you in episode number 2.